Hello, everybody. Hello, humans, and hello, masters of your own destiny. How's everybody doing? I hope you guys are doing fantastic. How are those future producers and writers and videographers and cameramen and makeup artists? I hope you guys are doing well. Me, how I'm doing? So. Today is one of those days that it took me a while to get out of bed. I mean, especially with everything that is going out there, you feel sometimes like, do I really need to do this? But guess what, guys? You have to promise me that you're going to find the strength and the optimism to get out of bed and be sure that you have a productive and creative day, which I guess you're having because you're watching from Suarez basement. So that's very productive already. So thank you for being here. I was having a little bit of coffee, but I'm going to wait. I want to introduce my guest of today. Scott Huegelmeyer is here. He is the production manager system for HBO, which is awesome. We're going to have a fantastic conversation. He's waiting for us in New York City. Hi, Scott. And then I have two of my favorite students. I know all my students are favorites, so don't get jealous. Roy Santacroce is here. He was my student in two of my classes, and he also was involved in the SUNY Oswego Holiday Television Special last year. And I also have Alexandra Farrell. She is here, well, not here, but in the other side of the screen, also waiting to have a conversation. She was in my video production class, very talented individual. So I cannot wait why they have to ask and the conversation that we're going to have with Scott. Guys, thank you for being here. Follow us on Instagram and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and I will see you next week for a new episode from Suarez Basement with a new guest. And please remember to be safe, to be healthy, and to be kind. Let's start our conversation right away. Here we go. Do you know why it's called from Suarez Basement, Roy?
Because it's filmed in your basement. That's my guess.
Exactly. Very, very good. So we are super excited to have Scott with us today. Scott, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us here from Suarez Basement.
Yeah, I'm very excited. Thanks for having me.
No, it's our pleasure. Guys, if you want to introduce yourself so our viewers also can know, I know you, but I want our viewers to know who you are.
Sure. I guess I'll go first. My name is Roy Santacroce. I'm a junior at Oswego. For those who go to Oswego and are listening, I'm a broadcasting major, so this is right up my alley, and I could not be more excited to get this started.
Fantastic. Ale?
Hi, I'm Ali. I go to SUNY Oswego. I'm a cinema and screen studies major, and this is pretty exciting. I'm a sophomore, and I'm excited to do this today. I hope everyone enjoys.
Scott, actually, I'm going to start with my first question because I think for a lot of the students that are watching, they feel like the entertainment industry or the television industry is all based only on producers, directors, writers. So they don't understand that is so many opportunities out there and so many other positions that are as important as the producer or the writer, because again, that's the reason when we watch a show in HBO or a movie, we have, so many people working on it. Describe a little bit what is your work entitled in your everyday so we can understand what your position is, and then we're going to start questions from Roy and then from Ali.
Oh, great. Yeah, actually, one of the things that I think I think by the time I graduated, but it was really my internships that really gave me this insight, is that within the industry, there are so many positions that are kind of, they aren't gray areas because they're important and just as relevant, but there's so many positions and levels to things that you don't even realize that's happening. And one of the things that I actually kind of foolishly thought early on that like to get into TV, it was like the only path was like local news. And if you didn't get into local news, that was it. And then I was fortunate enough to get an internship in 2004 on the Athens Olympics. And I worked with a lot of production assistants there, and they were basically like, oh no, they're like, this is just like, you can do that, but there are so many other ways. So one thing I would say is that as long as you know, what helped me was having a general direction of what I wanted to do, what I wanted to be in front of the camera, behind the camera, more writing, more technical. Go for that area, and then you never know how many. There's so many. It's support, technical, writing. I mean, even within writing and producing, for example, there are so many support levels in between there as well.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with what you just said, Scott. I'm at that stage right now where in my mind I say I want to be a play-by-play sports guy. Like you were saying about local news, how that's like the only way you can get into the industry. Like I understand that's not the only way. However, it feels at this moment that's the only way I can get in, is if I start really small. I go out to Wisconsin or somewhere in Kansas and I'm doing a extremely small news channel and I'm getting paid $20,000 a year, but I'm scraping by and then somehow I blow up. So I guess, yes, everything you just said was so clear. And that's the point I'm at, where these college courses, I'm starting to understand, like there's way more stuff out there. You just brought up production. I took my first production course last semester and it was incredible. It was so much fun, sports production. So I got to see behind the scenes. So I just my question, I guess, with all that as a preface, when was I shouldn't say when, I guess when and what was that deciding factor that led you down the path that you are today? So what was it, a class that you took? Was it a specific event? You brought up the internship with the Olympics. That's an incredible experience. Something like that is enough to probably change it. So what was that moment for you?
I kind of was fortunate that I knew I wanted to work in TV or broadcast or some sort of TV film, whatever, since high school. So we had a TV club, they called it, and I was the president. So I kind of knew my direction. I did some production there. It was kind of like a local show that we would show weekly or whatever. You brought up the sports production. I actually worked for the student TV station at Syracuse, or one of them, at least at the time, it was kind of like the sports center of the school for like the student schools. So we basically covered all the sports, but the majority of what we covered was not football, not basketball,
right.
But it was like everything. So I was able to kind of, because it was so like kind of loose and like there weren't a lot of people interested at the time, or at least enough, I guess I stuck around. So I ended up filming like almost every sport imaginable that we had. So, lacrosse, soccer, women's, men's, basketball, all that. So I started doing that. And then also I got into, part of that was learning video editing, which I kind of, and truth be told, if I could, do whatever, that's what I kind of really love. I love video editing. It's my like, enjoyment.
Yeah.
So part of shooting, obviously any small thing you're shooting and you're actually editing the stuff as well. I was able to learn myself, and I was working with other students, and I was all completely student run, and we just really wanted to do it. So there were actually literally times where I would be gone all night and I'd walk in the morning, and it was like, instead of partying, I was like, we were up finishing the show. And my friends would be like, wait, why are you doing this? And I was like, no, because this is what I really enjoyed. So it was that I got started, because again, there was no immediate reward for that when I was doing it. It was just the feeling the pride of finishing a show, but also, that you worked on it and you were like learning it all along yourself. So when I was willing to do that, when I was willing to do it for no immediate gain, and I remember always thinking like, oh man, imagine getting like actually paid to do this as well, was like fantastic. So that was kind of when I was like, knew it.
Right.
Sorry if my answers are
No, that's okay.
No,
that
was perfect.
That's what we're here for.
I was just wondering if you obviously know that the entertainment industry is a lot of constructive criticism. Has there ever been a point in your career where you were just like, I don't want to do this anymore. I can't handle what people are saying to me. And it was really difficult for you to get through that.
I think I was told a few times that like, oh, this probably isn't going to pan out. And I was like, just like, okay, that's fine. The other thing too is I was applying for every job possible, every newsroom. I remember I applied for almost every CNN show. You know, I had no news. I think the best thing, you know, sometimes they say fake it till you make it. And I would say it's more like, because it's important to have that confidence. But if you have, I mean, and you know, if you can't completely do anything, it's going to show right away. Mm-hmm. But I think that confidence of knowing that you can bring something that other people can't per se, and kind of remembering that perspective that, you know, there's, you know, looking back, I'm glad I didn't get a lot of those, you know, those like CNN production assistant jobs, because I wouldn't have found the role what I really like now. Mm-hmm. So just trying to remember that perspective, and that, you know, when you get negative feedback, if someone says like, you're not cut out for this, well, don't give up, keep trying and find new ways to do it. You know, the other thing too is nowadays, you know, with like YouTube and all sorts of other stuff, there's ways to get your stuff out there, mm-hmm. that's different. And you know, you're bringing something new that other people aren't. So whatever that might be, your experience, your background, whatever it is. I just remember that. You know, since I've become a manager, I've had to hire a few people a few times, and which is really, if you think interviewing for a job is weird, being the one interview is like, wait, when did this happen? Like what? But you know, when looking out for stuff, you know, to me, sometimes there's a lot of emphasis placed on, you know, like a degree or an institution or whatever. And for me, I don't look at that so much. I was an English and textual studies major, religion minor. So on paper, I didn't have, which I think maybe was part of like some of the barrier for me to get in. But I look for other stuff that isn't so much like the standard. I mean, you know, even I think even our listings for our position, because they tell us to put a communication, which you guys have, so it's not. But remember that I know it can also be tricky sometimes. Like I feel like even when I was at Syracuse, it was like, oh well, it's not Princeton or Harvard or Ivy Leagues or whatever, you know. And for TV, that experience and any experience you can get outside is, to me, is far more valuable. And I see that way more important.
Roy.
Yeah, so I'm gonna do a quick switch up, and we're gonna. Okay. I'm gonna ask a question about HBO Max, mm-hmm. because I just noticed that it was recently released. So AT&T and HBO Max, that's the couplet together. So it got released during the coronavirus quarantine period. So I have to ask, was that you think intended by HBO, or did it happen that because everything has been going on, people have been sitting inside, this is a perfect opportunity to release the finished product?
So so AT&T, I think it was 2 years ago, maybe. AT&T was in a legal battle with, they bought Time Warner, right? So it's like the chain of command is HBO is part of Warner Media and Warner Media is part of AT&T. But yes, and we actually, because when all these platforms were launched, were announced, you know, especially around when Disney Plus came out, everyone was like, oh, HBO Max is coming, it's the last one. And I know, and you know, I wasn't involved in that decision in any way, shape, or form. You know, those discussions are happening way above me. But I remember at the time, everyone was like, oh, is this a mistake? Obviously it was before the Corona stuff, anything like that. And they just stuck to their guns. And actually when the Corona thing happened, the Corona hit, I'm sure there was a question right away. It was like, are we going to delay this? But I think they soon realized that it kind of worked in favor. It was this, everyone was kind of people are consuming more content because they're just home more. So it wasn't planned. It wasn't like, but that was always going to be the launch date for it. Okay. So it was a coincidence in some ways. But I think what it was that the company felt that the content was strong enough on its own, and we started work. We had I think we were doing like 60 shows before, and we went into production on 90, and that was before HBO, and that actually had to happen before then. So there's all this stuff, and it's almost like funny because we get the content in its early stages. And like a new name comes in, I'm just like, okay, it's another show. All right, well, but there's so many shows coming in, we don't know. So there's even more coming out already. The stuff's coming out now. But I think because there was so much content that it was just, we're going to stand by the platform and what's on it.